Hey guys, it's Rachel with Living Life Rural, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about snail seed starting versus your typical cells. So first of all, you'll have to excuse me. I know my face is a little bit shaded because it's really bright and it's really sunny out today, and it's absolutely gorgeous and the birds are singing. But I still wanted to make these videos, and I had opportunity to do so. So you're going to have to forgive the imperfect lighting. So if you don't know what a seed snail is, I'm totally going to mess that up at some point. But if you don't know what a seed snail is basically you take, see if I can show it to you. This is my seed snail, and I actually made it too big. It should have been like a third glass. But you take and roll out like a feed bag or something like that, and then put dirt on it, and then you roll it up so it looks like a snail, and then you plant your seeds in the top. Now obviously I did not come up with this method, and I can't remember the name of the lady who did, but I will credit her down below, because she deserves the credit for it, because it's a really cool way of starting seeds and it saves a lot of space. So anyway, so I did a test this year, and it's like, you know what, I'm going to start some of my seeds the same way I always do, which is in little cells like this, little seed plugs kind of thing. And then I'm going to also start some in a seed snail just to see which one works better. Okay. So here's what happened. Here's my trial and error, my tips and tricks. So you can try a seed snail if you want to, or don't want to, either way. So first of all, let's talk about germination. I planted all of these seeds the exact same day, and I put them on a heat mat, and the seeds that I planted in this tray, I covered with like a plastic dome that goes over the top of it that came with the tray. And these I just put some plastic wrap over the top just so they would stay moist. So like the surface of the dirt would stay moist. And then I set my seed snail in this metal container because I like the water from the bottom and I needed something to catch the dirt. So I had the seed snail in there, and I sat that on the heat mat, and then I sat my seed tray on the heat mat as well. So the seeds were planted exactly the same depth, same soil, same heat mat, and they were both covered. The seeds in this tray came up much quicker. And I can only assume it's because it only had a couple inches from the top of the soil to the heat mat, whereas the seed snail had like 9 inches. Again, that's my fault. I should have made this considerably shorter to start with. So the seeds in the tray germinated a lot more quickly. Part of them, anyway. Part of them did not. I planted, obviously the tomatoes came up. All of these over here were supposed to be marigolds. Not a single marigold seed germinated this year. I'm guessing, since it was like a total fail across the board, that I'm going to attribute that to the fact that they were older seeds and they just didn't grow. And then I only had a couple lettuces come up, and then one lonely little basil plant come up. So yeah, so those seeds popped up really quickly, and the rest of the seeds that didn't come up, again, I'm going to attribute to maybe planting error, because I had a 5-year-old helper, and then possibly old seeds. But the difference happened after the fact. The seeds that I planted in my little tray came up really strong. I wasn't home when the tomato seeds germinated, and so they got pretty leggy on me. They're really pretty tall, but I'm not concerned about that with tomato seeds because it's actually really easy to fix leggy tomato seeds. So I'm not worried about that part. But the seeds that came up in the seed snail, they just hit the ground running. Like, again, they came up later, like probably like a week later. And once they germinated and started growing, I mean, they started growing so fast. And now I'll show you the difference between these two, but I have some caveats about that. You can see, if I can hold them up, I cannot hold them both up at the same time. Okay, so here's the size of the plants in my seed snail. They're beautiful, big plants. The ones in my plugs are very small. There's a reason for that, I know, because these seeds, the seedlings that were in my little tray, they needed potted up several weeks ago, okay? So the ones that are in the seed snail have had a couple weeks of being able to keep growing, because even, look, I don't know if you guys can see the bottom. I've got roots coming out the bottom here, okay? These things are going to have a root system on them like crazy. The seedlings in my tray only have these tiny little plugs that they're growing in. So I know that is one reason why they are so far behind and purple and look stressed. I'm going to go ahead and pot them up later today. So we'll see who catches up, if they catch up, etc. But so far, I'm loving the seed snail method simply for the fact that you don't have to, like, you have a lot more, like a larger window to have to worry about potting up those seedlings. Like, if you start your seedlings in a small, like these are about the size of a quarter. If you start your seedlings in a little plug like this, you've got to pot them up, or else they're going to run out of nutrients and stuff when they're growing, and they're going to, you know, be held back some. Now, I've done this in the past. I know as soon as I get these plants into a bigger pot of soil, they're going to go crazy. They're going to take off, and they're going to be fine. But for that reason, I'm fairly certain I'm probably going to like do more with the seed snail next year when I start my tomato seeds, just because, I mean, you guys know how life is. We all get busy, right? We get behind, and the seedlings that are in this little tray, they've been waiting on me to continue growing. But the seeds that I planted in the seed snail, they've been able to just grow and grow and grow without waiting on me. Like, they've had everything they need. So that's a little comparison contrast. The birds are loving today. It's a little compare and contrast of the seed snail method versus starting in plugs. I know it's not a completely true test, side-by-side test, because the plugs did not get potted up in time. But yeah, so that's my little spiel on seed starting in a snail versus a normal seed starting tray. Yeah, give it a try. I think it worked really well. It was really easy. Just don't make your initial snail as big as mine. But yeah, that's that in a nutshell. So I hope you give it a try next year. I'll see you in the next video.